Talk Depression, a virtual support group open to all ECC students. Group begins on Friday, October 9th at 7 p.m. The following is a prelude to the support group shared by Prem Wellness Services Professional, your group facilitator. Hi everyone! On October 9th, Wellness Services will launch its first support group for the fall semester, Talk Depression. In these group meetings, in no particular order, I will help facilitate group attendees discuss some very powerful tips to prevent, overcome, and manage depression. How do we identify the signs and symptoms of depression? And what are some of the types of depression out there that we've been experiencing? And what causes them? Does therapy really help? And if it does, how so? What are some of the natural approaches to dealing with depression that we can utilize, along with really research proven treatment modalities? And last but not least, depression and our biology, our physical and emotional health to go along with our varied states of mood. So let's get started with a little sneak preview of what that's like. When we talk about tips to overcome, manage, and prevent depression, let's start with rumination. Why do we ruminate? How long do we remain in that state of rumination when we find ourselves there? And when do we stop doing it, or do we ever? So that's something to consider. And the other thing would be focusing on what we are doing right as opposed to what we're doing wrong. Resisting the urge to live in the past. As a matter of fact, leave the future where it belongs until you get there. Incorporating a lot of structure in our everyday, remembering that very few of us are victims in the world. And what that means is actually taking responsibility instead for our lives. Finding social support network, because as humans, we are all wired to connect. So talking about the signs and symptoms of depression, well, that can be rather complex, and it affects some varying different systems of our body. While it manifests itself in instances when we find that we are hopeless and we have this sense of emptiness, loneliness, restless, we are sometimes, even at moments when we find that we are rather agitated and, we have angry outbursts, or when we lose, a relationship, when we experience the loss of a relationship and even loss of libido. So that could be speaking to some of the signs and symptoms of depression. We can also, or we will be talking about the types of depression that is out there. That can be major depressive disorder, depression to do with bipolar disorder, postpartum depression, and even low-grade chronic depression, which is actually called dysthymia. So what are the causes of depression? Or if you will, what are the triggers to our depression? Well, it could be stressors, any negative or experience or hardship, which can be external or internal. External, when it's such as, when you are experiencing the loss of a job, or it could be internal when you are brooding over the loss of a relationship. The thing about it is, we all differ in our susceptibility, by the very virtue of our biology, our heritage, our parenting styles, as well as our individual factors and social factors, styles of how we cope and deal with depression, the way that we've learned to do that. We've acquired those skills over time, as well as what we're lacking in that department, and how we're learning to cultivate, those habits right now in order to deal with depression, to mitigate that. So these are some of the topics that I anticipate with excitement that we would come together and be able to talk about in this upcoming support group, Talk Depression. So until then, I leave you with the following. Think and remain in the present moment, if you will. Nothing is ever unmanageable. It is perhaps our mind that oftentimes leads us to think that it is, but we can overcome just about anything. Our body literally knows what it needs, and we just have to go find it. And so think of this group as being that support for you, allowing you, helping you to do that, to figure it out. So I hope to see all of you online beginning October 9th for our virtual Talk Depression support group. Take care. Bye bye.